what I'm gonna do right now is actually go ahead and continue building this transmission tunnel. It looks bad right now. As you can see, the primer, I actually hit it with the pressure washer and what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be back to work on the 65 Ford Mustang. As you guys seen in the previous video, we went ahead and got everything in primer, and let me tell you, I love epoxy primer so much. This stuff is actually like almost rock solid compared to like any other primer that I've used. And it's also cool because it goes directly on the metal. But everything turned out great in the engine bay. But honestly, we're gonna let the primer set for a little bit because it's been pretty cold lately. I don't really want to start sanding it until it fully cures. So I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and transition into the inside. As you can see, the interior of this car is absolutely horrendous right now. There's a bunch of seam sealer peeling off of it. The transmission tunnel isn't done yet, which is what we want to knock out today. I want to get the transmission tunnel done, and I really do want to probably just go ahead and re-bedline this entire interior. As you can see, it does have some kind of coating on it, which kind of feels like bed liner, but I think what we're going to do is go buy a setup of Raptor liner and get everything prepped in here and basically just coat everything in Raptor liner. And I also want to seam seal some of the welds over there, seam seal all the welds over here, make sure everything is watertight, so you know when we're driving in the rain, water ain't coming up and hitting our toes. So the first thing I'm going to do on this car is basically I want to give this thing a nice deep clean, because as you can see, it is filthy. There's all kinds of dust and grime everywhere. So the first thing we're gonna do is grab the vacuum everything up, and we'll probably even go ahead and clean off all this excess glue. This is like, I think there's like a vapor barrier right here. So we're gonna give all this a nice clean everything out, and that's pretty much it. So let's get straight to work. So check it out, guys, we got the entire interior pretty much cleaned out. I actually hit everything with the Eastwood contour, and man, let me tell you, that thing works amazing, especially for this floor pan. I thought it was gonna be a big pain in the butt, but we literally hit everything. Now that everything's nice and clean, I don't think we're gonna have to get everything off, because the stuff that you see is still on. It's literally not coming off with the wire wheel, and I think we can just sand over it with the 80 grit or maybe like a 40 grit sandpaper, and it'll give it really nice, good strength for the bed liner to stick to, which will be fine because there's gonna be carpet on top of here and everything. I really just want to make sure all this is painted in and everything in here. So what I'm gonna do right now is actually go ahead and continue building this transmission tunnel and basically finish it up so we can get it welded in, and then we can finish sanding all this and get everything bed lined, and the entire interior will be done. So guys, it's the next morning here at the shop. As you can see, we got the entire transmission tunnel welded all up. We need to do a little bit of grinding on it, and it turned out pretty good. Got it all welded up perfectly to the body of the car. Everything lined up awesome. And honestly, we haven't cut the hole for the shifter yet because I'm still considering doing an automatic instead of a manual in this car, which I think automatic would just be a little bit better for this car, which would just help it drive because, I mean, it's a super light car and manuals are, I don't really like manual. As you guys know, McLaren's automatic. All my cars have been automatic so far except the surprise car that we have out there. But I actually went ahead and cleaned everything with the muriatic acid. I realized you do have to neutralize acid with baking soda and water, and that's why this area right here isn't even rusted at all. As you can see, there's a little tiny bit of surface rust, but not much. And we do have an issue with the entire body of the car. I'm about to show you guys. It's pretty bad, but we do have a solution for it. So let me show you guys what happened. So as you guys remember in the beginning of the video, the car looked amazing. But after I was done welding everything and I sprayed all the acid and then I washed everything, I wanted to pressure wash the entire interior of here before we did any undercoating or bed lining in there. And I was noticing, like on the quarter panels and stuff, it looks bad right now. As you can see, the primer, I actually hit it with a pressure washer and it literally just took all the primer off. And I'm guessing what happened was when I coated the car in acid before to clean everything off, I didn't neutralize it with water. I kind of tried neutralizing it with like some paint thinner. I was just trying to clean it all off. And I guess the acid started seeping through the primer, which freaking sucks because we primed everything on the car. And basically what we're gonna have to do is we have the sandblasting guy coming back out here and we're gonna have to get the whole entire car vapor blasted again, which sucks really bad. But honestly guys, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm probably more mad about the situation than anything because we had the whole car in nice coat of primer and then literally I took a pressure washer to it because I wanted just to wash it. And this stuff's been drying. It dried already for like 4 days, so it should be rock solid. I mean, in some spots where there wasn't any acid, the primer is solid and you can't peel it off. But then on the other spots, like especially, let me show you guys the engine bay. It is not looking good in here. As you can see, like the corners and stuff right here, you can see like rust spots coming through. And I'm guessing that's because the acid, I didn't neutralize the acid, and the acid was still going even after I primed it. And that's not good. So we're gonna have to get this sandblasting guy out here. We're just gonna re-blast the entire car back to bare metal, which sucks. But you know what? Sometimes you make mistakes. You know, you can't always, especially me, like this is my first classic car that I'm actually getting almost done, you know, in primer and messed up. But you know what? We're gonna have to keep chugging along because we're gonna have to get this car back in primer in today's video, get this thing ready to be put back together, which I'm kind of happy that we're gonna have to re-blast it because, you know, maybe we can even blast some stuff inside the interior just to get all that prepped. So I guess we're just gonna wait for the guy to show up and then we're gonna get this entire car re-blasted. Welcome back, nice to see you. How's it doing?
Looks like y'all been stirring up some noise.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna make some racket today.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I finally did buy another truck though. I'm still working on it, but you can tell all your folks to quit.
Yeah, everyone was like, man, you gotta get him a new truck.
Yeah, it's a long story. I have a smaller rig of this, and I pull that with this truck.
Oh.
Yeah, so that vehicle died, so then I had to pull the bigger rig. Well, the smaller rig, the compressor.
I mean, all you need to do is get some of those airbags for the back.
Well, the compressor on the other smaller rig went bad, so then I started pulling this heavier rig, and then I've got parts I can actually fix that, make it not do that.
So yeah, I think on the Mustang, basically, it's just gonna need probably just a light blast, and you can see this primer is really thin. It literally comes off with your fingers. That was just with the pressure washer right there.
I know, yeah, we're gonna get cranked up, man. Hopefully it just flies off of there. That would be great.
I think it will.
Get you back on track in a hurry.
Yeah. You see, I did the same thing with.
You've done some amazing work up front.
Thank you.
Great.
Not for this rust, man. It'd be already.
I know. Get you right where you can get the. This looks good though. I like this panel here.
Thank you. And everything up here.
You got it set up to hold a pretty good one there. So this came out good too.
Thank you. Yeah, it just sucks because I primed it. Everything was good for about 2 days, and then I just started noticing the little rust spots coming through, and I was just like, dang it. Because a lot of people were telling me that you have to, I guess, neutralize the acid, but it was the first time I ever used it.
Well, epoxy primer, it does work that way, but like I was telling him on the way here, the can tells you that, you know, even to use an acid wash, but the can doesn't take into the account that you have a blasted car.
Oh.
So with a blasted car, you don't have to do all that because your metal is as clean as it can be already.
Oh, so right after we blast it, we can
all
just...
All you had to have was a simple tack prep, and that's just a good wipe down to make sure it's...
See, what happened was up here, this was that metal, and it had the...
new metal now, you may have needed to treat it, so...
Well, it had that protective coating on. You can't really grind it.
Exactly. That's why the blasting comes in for that, too. You know, we did talk about that at one point about coming and blasting all that new metal, and that takes that coating off you're talking about.
Really?
So, yeah, so...
Should have probably did that. I thought maybe I'd just put the acid on it, would take it off, and I could prime it.
Well,
but
you know, it helps you out. If you'd have neutralized your acid right, then you'd have been good. I mean, you'd have had...
Yeah, but I think it'll come off pretty easy.
It should. It doesn't look like you sprayed it too heavy either. So
no, it was probably like 1 or 2 coats. So Eric from Vapor Blasting has came again, and he's gonna go ahead and blast this entire car, and I guess we'll show you guys the end result when it's done. So check it out, guys, the entire car is back to square one. Eric over here with Vapor Blasting got everything sandblasted, and man, when I seen the primer rusting earlier in the day, I was so sad. I was like, dang, what are we gonna do? But you know, called him up. He came over here with this whole setup and basically knocked everything out, and is back to square one. All we're gonna have to do now is basically let it dry, and then we can just prime it. We can't put no chemicals on here because we don't want it to rust again. Lesson learned. So next car that we do, we won't be doing that. But hey, big shout out to Eric over here at Vapor Blasting. If you guys are interested in any vapor blasting, make sure you check out his Instagram. I'll link it down below, and you can just DM him, get a quote. And he is mobile, so if you want him to show up at your house, he can literally sandblast the whole car, right?
Yeah, or anything, buildings, sidewalks, houses, concrete, asphalt.
Basically anything that's metal you can do.
Anything. We surface prep everything. I can figure out how to blast it.
If you guys are interested in any vapor blasting, make sure you check him out on Instagram. I'll drop all the links down below. But now it's time to go ahead and get this car back inside the shop. We need to dry it all down and basically get it prepped for primer again. So guys, it's the next day here at the shop. We got the entire car back on jack stands, and everything is nice and dry. We actually even put a fan on here just to help dry everything off, because as you guys know, the vapor blasting does use water, but it does use a special chemical that doesn't allow it to rust. But man, look how good it looks now. Everything is cleaned out of the interior. I'm kind of glad we went ahead and sandblasted everything in here, because I was thinking about bedlining it, but honestly, I'd rather just give it a nice thin coat of paint, just make it look nice and crispy. So now what we need to do is basically just air blow it out and get all the rest of this sand out, and then we'll just clean some stuff. We can't use any chemicals on the car, you know, that, you know, what happened and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and just air blow it, clean it all down, and give everything a nice fresh coat of primer. Crazy. So check it out, guys. We finally got everything re-primed, and man, this transmission tunnel actually turned out pretty good. We also went ahead and primed everything inside there, and everything looks amazing. I'm kind of glad we did remove all that old bed liner in here. I'd rather just paint it black and it'll look a lot cleaner and better. But now the entire body is basically just needs to dry up, and then we can go ahead and knock out all the body work, and this thing will be ready for paint. So guys, the video did kind of take a turn for the worse. You know, I didn't really think I would have to be stripping down all the primer off this car, and I was just planning on finishing up this interior. But you know what? Not everybody's perfect. You make mistakes sometimes, but you got to come back. You got to own up to it and fix it. And I decided just to show you guys the whole process, because I was thinking at first maybe just do everything off camera and not show everybody. But you know what? Sometimes things happen, and you can't really go around it. But it turned out awesome, and honestly it turned out even better because we went ahead and sandblasted this entire area right here, which got rid of all that old undercoating, which looked pretty rough. I was thinking about just, you know, putting bed liner on top of it and it would look kind of decent, but now it looks absolutely perfect in here. Everything up here looks good too. We got everything sandblasted, everything is beautiful, and what we're gonna do now is pretty much we just need to let this set up, let it dry up, and then we're gonna go ahead and paint all this stuff out, put the front suspension back on the car, and I think we'll get it on the lift because we need to get the engine in this car, build the transmission tunnel bracket, get everything lined up in there, and then pretty much we can start doing the body work. I really do want to get this entire car basically driving while it's in primer before we do any type of painting on the car. So if we have to adjust something, if we have to grind something, you know, we're not ruining paint. But we're gonna catch you guys tomorrow once all this is dry. So guys, it's the next day here at the garage, and man, let me tell you how excited I am now seeing the entire car back in primer. And I remember the last time when I primed it and I came back in the next day, and you'd be like looking at some of the primer and there'd be little rust spots coming through. But now everything is legitly perfect with the car. And what I think we're gonna start off with is I wanna go ahead and get this entire area painted in right here. So then we can let all that dry and we can start assembling all the suspension. So we need to do a little bit of caulking. I wanna seam seal this little thing right here. Basically seam seal that before we do any painting, and it takes about 30 minutes to dry. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna seam seal all that, and then we're gonna go on to the interior, do a little bit of sanding, basically get it ready for painting. So while this is drying, we'll get that sanded, and then we'll paint everything black in one go. So guys, check it out, we got everything painted in, and I cannot be more excited of how this car turned out. Honestly, at the beginning of this video, the car was super rough. You know, we had all the primer issues, everything. We got the entire car sandblasted, went ahead and finished the transmission tunnel in there, and it honestly looks super good. It turned out pretty good. I didn't even grind any of the welds because it's my welds. You know, I'm not gonna grind anything. It's my car, I'm building it how I wanna build it. And if you ask anybody how long, like let's say if you take this car to like a fabrication shop, how long it takes months to do what we've done on this car, and it's only one person working on it, which, you know what, I'm pretty impressed with how much work I did on the car. And the car is basically 100% rust free. Entire body was coated in epoxy primer. And man, it's turning out good. Check out how awesome this front suspension area looks right here. We seam sealed all that up and it just looks absolutely killer under there. And I also went ahead and painted everything, painted under there, painted all over here, just so whenever we go to put the fender on, we probably won't have to take the fender back off after it's on. That's why I sprayed it all in over there. And I am using some pretty awesome paint. This is a tough rust, and you can actually put this stuff directly on metal, which is cool. That's why I'm kind of using it on here, because it adheres really good to the epoxy primer. I actually sprayed a little bit and I tried scraping it off and nothing. It's super strong, super durable. That's why we went ahead and painted everything up in there. And man, does it not just look freaking awesome over there. And I also went ahead and just sprayed all this in right here. As you guys know, the engine bay will be color matched to the car, but I think we're gonna leave all this black right here because you can kind of see some of this through the grill. So we just painted all this in black, and then like the tops here will all get sanded down, and the whole engine bay will be a body color. I was thinking maybe just do the engine bay flat black like most classic cars, but I think we want to like showcase a lot of this stuff. So we're gonna paint it body color. So guys, now we're at the turning point of the build. Finally, all the fabrication work is done on the car, and let me tell you, that stuff was a pain in the butt. But I love exactly how everything turned out exactly how I envisioned it. Now it's time to just go ahead and start reassembling the car. We can put the front suspension on, put the cradle on, go ahead and maybe put the engine in a bit later, start mocking everything up, how we're gonna do the cooling, the radiators, the headers, all of the fun stuff that just doesn't really take as long as the fabricating. And then we'll have to also start figuring out the interior. We do need to figure out the brakes, all the complex stuff inside the car to get this thing running. But if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also follow us on Instagram at vTuned, and also check out the vTuned website. Check out some cool merch. We do have some more merch coming soon for the Mustang. So thanks for watching.